president rallying the base in battleground Michigan tonight, 54 days before an election that the Speaker of the House predicts the president and the Republican Party will lose big time.
Does anybody want to have somebody from Antifa as a member and as a resident of your suburb? Let's get the hell out of here, darling. I wish Trump were president. He wouldn't have allowed that to happen.
I'm really excited about Joe Biden. I think he's going to be a great president. In 8 weeks, we'll be celebrating the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, a Democratic Senate, a strengthened Democratic House of Representatives.
It is debate time with tonight's panel, Democratic strategist Isaac Wright and Fox News contributor and author of the brand new book, Speaking for Myself, Sarah Sanders. Good to have both of you with us tonight.
Good to be here.
Thanks, Shanna.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the things grabbing headlines tonight. We talked about this at the top of the show. Kevin Corke reporting that the White House may take executive action when it comes to coronavirus relief because it didn't get across the finish line. It didn't even get across the starting line really today in the Senate. Democrats stood together, not a single one of them voting to advance this measure. A lot of the media out there said Senate bill stalls. The Hill, though, did say that in its headline, Senate Democrats block GOP relief bill. Sarah, how's it going to play, though, out there in the heartland where you're trying to appeal to voters? Are they going to get the nuance of the back and forth with the parties fighting over this? Or are people just going to be frustrated that they need help and they're not getting it?
I think people are just going to be frustrated, and they have a right to be. Republicans put forth a bill and a legislation today, and Democrats aren't even willing to discuss it. They've called it a non-starter. People need relief. People need help, and Democrats have proven once again that they are unwilling to work with Republicans to actually get something done. They're too busy making this a political issue instead of helping people that really need it. I would love to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. But I certainly am disappointed that Democrats continue to refuse to actually help people where they need it most.
Here's how the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell put it today.
They don't want to do a deal. They don't want to do a deal before the election because they think somehow that adversely affects their prospects in the election. Well, the American people are not interested in those kinds of excuses.
Isaac, is it political at this point, refusing to move forward on this bill?
Well, I think this is one thing that Sarah and I and Mitch McConnell can all agree on. The American people are suffering and frustrated by politics in Washington. That's holding up the problem. The problem is the short-sightedness of Republicans on the Hill who forget that Democrats already passed the bill. They already passed a relief package 4 months ago that's been waiting on Mitch McConnell and Republicans to do something about it. And instead of taking action and trying to negotiate, 4 months later, they offer a political maneuver that's not a serious plan, that actually takes out things like funding for states and localities for critical essential services that covers things like our police, our firefighters, our EMTs, that strips all of those resources out of the Democratic bill that already passed the House 4 months ago, that strips out funding to extend a full economic benefit for unemployment through January, that strips out funding for things like safe and fair election. This is a short-sighted memory, unfortunately, by politicians in Washington. But voters across the country, people who are hurting right now in this economy and in this crisis, are not going to forget when November comes around.
Well, they may not, and it depends on which side they end up blaming, because as you said, the Democrat-controlled House has passed a measure. The Republican-controlled Senate attempted to get a measure going. Neither side appearing willing to meet each other in the middle amidst the demands the two sides have. Let's talk about moving forward to November 3rd. And people are already voting now, so really now we're in election season. The Washington Post talks about the blue wave in 2018, which hurt Republicans in those midterm elections. They say what Trump is counting on is that his presence on the ballot will spur the 1 in 4 voters who backed him in 2016 but skipped 2018 to return to the polling place, or at least that's what he's arguing publicly. Sarah, is that a good place to put your hopes in?
Well, I think there's a good place to put your hopes in the record of accomplishment that this president has to run on. In 4 years, he's already done more for the American people than Joe Biden did in over 40 years of service. I think it is the contrast of the ages. There's a very clear line. You can either go the path of safety, security, prosperity, and law and order, or you can follow the radical left and the liberal mob under Joe Biden. He may not be talking about a lot of those party platform positions that they have moved to because he knows how unpopular they are with the American people. But no one should be fooled in thinking that Joe Biden has the backbone to stand up to the radical left of his party who have taken total control. The choice could not be more clear, and I think that the debates are going to be imperative in drawing that contrast and letting the American people see who is capable of continuing on the path of prosperity under the president and safety and security, or going down the road with Joe Biden that I don't think anybody wants America to look like what it will be under that administration.
Well, and to the president's record, even today when he was pressed on it, Joe Biden said that he should get some credit for the USMCA, that it's actually better than NAFTA. Isaac, final word to you.
I would say look around the country. We have a global pandemic that is worse in America than any other first world country because a president has been caught lying to the American people about the severity of it. The tapes have come out. We have an economy in crisis and reeling, and a president who has failed to make the relationships on Capitol Hill to be able to help broker a deal on a relief package. People are suffering for it, and I wouldn't question Joe Biden's backbone. He has the backbone to stand up to Donald Trump, to call him out for the lies and for the failed leadership. We can do better. Look around. Do you feel safe in this country right now with the pandemic and everything that's going on? Now is the time when we need real leadership, and that's what November is going to come down to.
Well, I got to think that these debates are going to have some high viewership. A lot of folks are interested to see these two go head-to-head, and we will see that just weeks from now. Isaac and Sarah, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.